Okay, we're going to switch things up a little bit today, and we're going to start out with the song. You have a lyric sheet, hopefully. If not, and you feel like you need one, raise your hand and we'll get one to you, but it is a pretty simple song, so you should be able to follow along.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source, peace is my power, peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Oh, God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything and every little thing that I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Oh, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything, everything I need. God gives me everything, every little thing I need. God gives.
Now that we're all excited,
Oh, yes.
welcome.
Welcome.
All right, now let's just move right into taking it within. Let's go right to that presence. I'm going to light the unity candle, the Christ candle, and our power of the month is power, which is purple. So let's sing Surely the Presence while we do this.
Of angels' wings, I see glory on each face. Surely the presence
So I invite you now to bring to mind those with whom you would like us to pray with. If you have someone whose name is on your heart, someone you're thinking about, that you would like to bring into this circle, you may speak their name out loud now.
Joe.
Bruce. Teresa. For these blessed souls and for all of us souls in this room, we hold the highest truth that there is one divine presence that is weaving its way in and out and through and as these very lives. We see them, we hold them, and we acknowledge an awareness that is growing, ever present within them. And as they live, move, and have their being, as we live, move, and have our being, we walk together in unity on this path toward the one true source. We know this as it has been taught to us by our elder brother. God is love. And so it is. Please join with me in repeating the Our Father as it has been rewritten by Charles Fillmore. Our Father, who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, here on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
Today we're going to move right into meditation at this point, so that we can open ourselves to the Spirit that is within us, that is around us, so that we may open to receive the Word. So I invite you to get comfortable in your seats. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, knowing you are in a safe, warm embrace. Breathe in. Breathe in the life. Fill your lungs with that effervescent energy and exhale. Transforming your breath as you do this over and over again. Breathing in life, effervescent life, filling your lungs and your body, and exhaling that transformed breath. Continue to do this as you get more and more comfortable sinking down into that sacred center, that holy, holy place within, where we commune with the divine. It is in this space that we are comforted. We are loved. We know love. And it overtakes us. Allow that embrace of your soul to heal as you know, as you open to the knowing that we are one. And now in the silence, allow this presence to align with your mind. Allow your thoughts to become its thoughts. An exchange of divine ideas. Now in the silence. easily bring your awareness back to my voice. As you continue to breathe in this fullness, in this place where all is well, all is exactly as it should be. You have opened your mind and you are ready. You are ready for whatever comes before you. Allow me to claim that for you. Each and every situation that arises in this day will find itself at your foot, at the foot of a person who is ready and open and present, because you know the oneness. You know from whence your strength comes. And you feel in every cell of your body at one-ment. I claim this to be true for you and for all of us, because this is the truth of what we are. Pure, effervescent love. A beacon of light, of truth. Knowing this, being this, we open our eyes fully now to what is coming, to what already is. God. And so it is. Okay, let's just take a moment to breathe, knowing fully that all is well, and we'll let Reverend Phil gather himself and come up when he's ready to talk to us on where are you from. Okay, we get to find that out today. Thank you, Reverend Phil.
Well, it's good to be with you again. Some of you know that I was here 2 weeks ago, and that I made a point of the fact that I was pushing the envelope in that I had never spoken on a Sunday morning before without a tie. And I did that because one of the gentlemen was here 3 weeks ago when I was just here as a visitor, came up to me afterwards, and I was dressed as I am today, and he said, "You're dressed Nevada dress up." I thought, oh, well then maybe I don't need to wear a tie and French cuffs anymore. And then I've really pushed on the envelope this week because now I'm wearing Levi's to boot. So I've gone all the way, even though I know that it doesn't help to push the envelope because it's only stationary. People seem to enjoy that view of life about stationary last time, so I came across a couple I thought you might enjoy. The good news about the person who had his whole left side sliced off, but he's all right now. Only one more. I don't get a chance to share these kind of things very often. So, but this is about the fellow that got addicted to brake oil. But he said, "I can stop easily anytime." What am I talking about? I better get on with it, Benjamin. I want to talk to you today about where are you from? And it would be interesting if we went around this room and asked that question. You'd find that when each of you took your turn telling us where you're from, that a lot of us would go, hmm. And then somebody else would tell where they're from, and they'd go, whoa. It's like, I used to live, my wife and I used to live in Hawaii for many years. And whenever you'd be out somewhere and be introduced to people, and we'd say, where are you from? I'd say, from Hawaii. People go, oh. And then we moved to Sacramento, and we'd say, where are you from? And we'd say, we're from Sacramento. Oh. Or like I visit my daughter from time to time, and she lived in Malibu. And so whenever I'm going to see my daughter in Malibu, people go, oh, oh. What does that mean? And what I want to suggest to you today that is where we are from, each one of us has a certain consciousness wrapped around it. So when you say, I'm from Hawaii, there's a lot of consciousness wrapped around that. And those of you who've been to Hawaii know that there is a consciousness in Hawaii that's different. People have heard about it or seen pictures of it. So anyway, they put that consciousness upon you when you say, I'm from Hawaii. Or if you say, I live in Malibu, they put that consciousness around you in that they think, whoa, they must have money. Because it is true, you can't live in Malibu on Social Security these days. And every time I've gone to Malibu to visit my daughter, I'm always running into celebrities. So there's a lot of charisma about a place like that. So where are you from? I want to tell you that I think the answer to that is probably one of the most important questions and answer that you will ever have in your life. Where are you from? And it's because the very essence of our teaching in metaphysics is that life is consciousness. Life is consciousness. We live in a sea of energy, and the consciousness that we hold is constantly working on this field of energy to bring forth in our lives that which we hold and relate to in consciousness. And that is both a thrilling thing and an incredibly challenging thing. It's easy to glaze over that, but when we come together like this on a Sunday, it's my job to put the pressure on us. Very, very realistically, it's about putting the pressure on us. Because you wouldn't be here if you didn't believe that life is consciousness. But to hold our feet to the fire and say, okay, what's in consciousness? It leads it to say, okay, you know, what I'm saying today is a lot of what's in our consciousness, and my consciousness, has to do with what we think, where we think we are from. Let's think for a moment about how our consciousness does get established. The first place that I think it gets established is where so many people, and certainly many of our intellects in the world, don't give much credit to, and that is, I believe we come into this world with a consciousness. Because life does not start at birth. And most of you, again, are here because you really know that. And I want to tell you, it is an absolute truth. You did not start at birth as far as consciousness is concerned. You came in with a consciousness. How many of you ever watch Andre Rieu? You know Andre Rieu, am I saying it right? Rieu. Andre Rieu. Only a couple of you. I suggest if you have not watched him before, look him up on the internet and you can get all of his concerts. Nobody in the world has approached playing for as many people as he has. Has an orchestra, 50 to 80 people, travels all over the world, and crowds, they come out by the thousands. And anyway, I mentioned that to say, here's this big orchestra, and there were thousands of people gathered, and he says, we have a guest artist today. And he brings out this guest artist, 3 years old. 3 years old, you know, a lot of 3 years old aren't even standing up straight really hardly. He comes out and he's dressed up in a little dress-up outfit, and he's got a violin. And so Andre says, and he's going to play for us, and he gives this concert piece title. And so the huge orchestra says, this little 3-year-old takes that violin and plays it magnificently. The crowd went wild. How does that happen? Again, our intellects, people as brilliant as Stephen Hawking, most of you probably know him, one of our great physicists of all times, made such a great point. He says, when you leave here, that's it. But God bless him, you know. So many people who are on the intellectual path, they build their own little space and they stay in it. They don't really look to what's going on elsewhere and try to explore. But how can a 3-year-old do that? Obviously, he really wasn't 3. He came in with a consciousness that was established so that when and I forget what his parentage, but they were in music, and so he just took to it naturally because he already was a great musician probably. Anyway, none of you have started at birth, so you came into life with a consciousness. Then the next thing that happens to all of us is we are immediately impressed with the consciousness we're born into, the environment that we're born into. So, if we have parents that are upbeat and joyful, you are immediately blessed as a child. You begin to gather that consciousness along with the one you brought. And of course, if your parents have to be on the other side, you're impressed with that. And it may jolt you from the consciousness you brought, or you may be a great influence on changing your parents' consciousness. But the point is, you came in with a consciousness, and then you're immediately impacted with the consciousness of the environment of your parents and surrounding friends and family. Then the third element, and the one that is so important to our lesson today, is we're impacted by something called race consciousness. You live in an energy field, and that energy field is available for you to make use of in your own life, but you're also influenced by an energy field that's created by the joint consciousness of the people of the world. Let's see if I can give you an example of this. I cannot, because I plan to. Someone sent me an internet the other day, and he said, I can relate. He just said, I can relate to what he sent me. He sent me an internet with some happy pictures on it. And here's a picture of 2 ladies who are obviously senior citizens. And one is holding this little black thing that looks like a cell phone in her hand, and she's just smiling, and she's showing to her friend, and she says, I've been calling you all day. And her friend says, that's a calculator. Another one that was included in this thing that he said I can relate to is, don't let aging get you down. It's too hard to get back up. There's another one of a lady who is obviously a senior citizen, and she's looking at her computer and says, I wonder if they deliver emails on Sunday. One more here. Secrets to a long, happy marriage. An old woman was sipping on a glass of wine while sitting on the patio with her husband. And she says, I love you so much. I don't know how I could ever live without you. Her husband asked, "Is that you or the wine talking?" She replies, "It's me talking to the wine." Now I got one more, and then we're gonna get back to serious business. Here's another two. I don't know why all the older souls here seem to be women, but there's two senior citizen women sitting there. One's sort of looking through her purse, and the other one's holding her head like that. And one says, "My memory is so bad." The other one says, "How bad is it?" And the other one says, "How bad is what?" Now, folks, I've just given you an insight to the impact of race consciousness. We all laugh, as the guy who sent this to me said, "I can relate to this." We all laugh because there's a part of us can relate to it. But would you rather be from Hoboken or Hawaii? You see, we're constantly being impressed with a very real energy that says, yeah, this aging is real. And it does those things to people. And it comes out real funny at times. And so we can laugh, but it still registers with us that that's a part of life. Well, in Hoboken it is. But not in the Hawaii that we want to talk about today. They asked Jesus once, they said, where he was from. And his answer is in John 8:23. And he said unto them, "Ye are from beneath, I am from above. You are of this world, I am not of this world." Powerful words. I'm not of this world. And you know, for a long time, in my awareness of that, I did not click to what I'm sharing with you today, because I thought, well, yeah, he was saying he's from another dimension. He's not of this world. But we're all from another dimension. Before you came into this body and this life, you were from another dimension too. And that's a reality. So that doesn't separate Jesus. So what could he have been talking about? And finally it dawned on me when he said, "You're from beneath, I'm from above. You're of the world, I'm not of this world." He was talking about race consciousness. I don't buy it. I don't buy into all this stuff. Matter of fact, he was probably so strong that it's possible, had he been sitting right here in this row, he'd have been one of my failures, and I would have told those funny stories about older folks, and he probably wouldn't have smiled. Because he would probably be thinking, wait a minute, I came here to lift you folks out of believing in limitation. And while we can see the humor that's involved in people who stagger into old age, it is not a reality and doesn't have to be, because your life is controlled by consciousness. Where are you from? Metaphysically, we think we've got the right answer, and that is that we live and have our being in God. And in a very real sense, that means we live and move and have our being in universal mind. I think it was Daily Word or something recently I read, somebody said, "Ooh, I like that comfortable feeling that I live in God." Because it's sort of contained if you lived in the body of God. Well, but that's pretty hard to grasp as an intellectual reality. But when you say, I live and move and have my being in the mind of God, to me at least, intellectually, that rings real true. Because you see, everything really that I am, I shouldn't be pointing to my head, but is what's living in my consciousness. I've got a whole host of ideas that are living in my consciousness. So do you. And so when I think about how that's all very real, I think it makes sense to realize I live in the mind of God. Each one of us is a living idea in the mind of God. And so when someone says to you, where are you from? What I'm challenging all of us, I'm okay, I haven't run out, run over. What I'm challenging us is to know that what I'm saying to us today is not for church. It's for everyday living. And we as true students have an incredible gift to give to the world. To be exemplifiers of where we're really from. And you are out of the mind of God. Call it heaven if you want. It's even better than Hawaii. Better than Hawaii. So it's saying, where are you from? I'm from the mind of God. I got it made. And I mean, if you take Jesus' teachings literally, you got it made. Except we have to claim it. I am from Hawaii. I mean, when you are from Hawaii, you can hardly wait for them to ask you, where are you from? Because you say, I'm from Hawaii. And so we, in our self-talk, more importantly than what you say to others, because we're not really given that opportunity too often, or do you want to confront other people by, saying, I'm from the mind of God? But it's your self-talk that's very important. Where are you from? I am from the mind of God. And I am made in the image and likeness of God. Therefore, I know God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way through every moment of this day. Now I'm wealthy, healthy, etc. Some of you know the prayer of faith that the Vilmos gave us. This is the reality of our being. So, we all know this together, and I know darn well, probably 90% of you here would say, I know I've heard this before. And I understand that. And I also understand why it is that I'm not shimmering with light here, as perhaps Jesus did talking to you. I look pretty human to you today, and I am. Because knowing what we're sharing today doesn't say, it's going to turn on today now. I know where I'm from, and I'm going to be all that I know I am in the mind of God. I'm going to be perfect health, perfect youth, etc., etc. It isn't going to happen that way. I wish it could. There are instantaneous healings that we can have, an instantaneous answer to prayer thought. I was wrestling putting a screen in yesterday at this home that I live in. And the screen had been abused and has those little things you pull out and it pops out to hold the screen in. And they had been broken, so I pulled them out, put a couple of nails just in there that would maybe hold it, but I couldn't get the screen to come in the window. And so I was wrestling with it and getting frustrated. Suddenly I said, God, I need your help. Bang! Next time I leaned on it, it just snapped in place. Somebody said, chance? No, because you find out it happens that way so often. But why did I have to wait to get frustrated enough to call on God? That's the question. So anyway, part of our evolving, changing our consciousness, I am from the mind of God. I am from the mind of God, and I have access to all that God is. And to work at that and to practice it until it becomes a living reality for us. Whether it will happen in our incarnations, in this particular life journey or not, I don't know. Should we feel guilty about the fact that we're not perfect. It's like tomorrow, I am going to have surgery. And so obviously I missed the mark somewhere, and the mark I missed was I spent too much time in Hawaii in the sun. So they're going to take some cells out of my forehead here because they tell me they're not desirable. And some of you probably can relate to that. So anyway, obviously I had not perfected my body and other things I'm working on. But the more I can remember within myself where I am from, the better I will do the job. And the more we support each other, we can do the job. What I love about, I'm almost done now. The thing I loved about Unity, one of the reasons it grew so spectacularly is that the founders, the Fillmores, they expressed much of what we're talking about today. And so people wanted to be around them. People wanted to hear what they had to say. And the way Unity grows and the way this ministry will grow is that each one of us in our own personal life can be so conscious of where we're from that we live life a little bit above at least the ordinary. So that when people praise you and your life and they say, boy, they got something. They got something. And then if they're thinking that, they want to know you better, and know a little about it. Next thing you know, they want to know what you believe. And you get to share with them. So, where you're from is a powerful word, and I give thanks today that we are able to, I remind myself and to remind you, that we are from the mind of God. We're from that heavenly place where all things are good. That I am forever young. I do not fall into the pattern of race consciousness. In any area of my life, whether it's about our youth, or our health, or our prosperity, because God is our infinite resource. Let's close our eyes for a moment and feel this together. Tony's already led us in a good meditation and have felt the rightness, the goodness, the perfection of this God mind that is present for all of us. There is not one soul superior or ahead of the other. We're all working together to be renewed in an awareness of where we're from. O blessed presence, we give thanks for the wonder of this which we are privileged to be aware of. We give thanks for your movement in our life to keep us consciousness of our oneness with you. Thank you, God. Amen.
It's like the air around me. It's like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I am touched by amazing grace. And all I ever wanted, and all I ever needed, was already there. closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air. I breathe in, and I am filled with the Spirit. It is health to my body, it is peace to my mind, it is joy, it is joy to my soul. And I breathe out a simple prayer of thank you. And my breath becomes a song that was singing all along, that is singing everywhere. It is nearer than the air. And I am filled with the Spirit. Oh, it is health to my body, it is peace to my mind, it is joy, it is joy, it is joy, joy to my soul. My simple prayer, thank you. And my breath becomes a song that was singing all along, that is singing everywhere. It is nearer than the air. It's like the air around me. It's like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I am touched by amazing grace. And all I ever wanted, and all I ever needed, was already there, closer than the sunlight.